All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Todd Casey. Thanks for joining. I am going to start with a presentation, and then I'm going to play a couple of videos just so you can kind of see the format. But my intention of all this is to be able to show you just the way, hold on one sec, the way in which the class runs, and then the Q&A usually firms up any extra questions that we have. So there will be a long Q&A at the end of this. My presentation will not be that long. I would imagine it's probably going to be about 10 to 15 minutes. And then Q&A usually lasts about 45, just like our classes. So here's the color wheel. It's an 18-step color wheel. It's an 18-step traditional color wheel. Also, thank you all. Welcome and thank you for joining. There'll be a Q&A at the end. This is being recorded. I'll post it to Patreon. I'll put it in MailChimp if that's how you came through here. I think everyone got the link through MailChimp, and I'll probably put it on YouTube. Please hold off on questions until after the presentation. There'll be time for Q&A. The Q&As in all of my classes are about at least half hour to 45 minutes. All of the material in this class is copywritten. It'll be in my book. I had to change this because they moved it from November now up to October, which never happens. It usually goes the other way, where they say, hey, we have to push it off till 2040, and then I have to sit on the content. So the book was written in, I think I submitted it January 1st, 2021. It's taken this long to edit and do everything. So this is from the color handbook that will be coming out. Kalina is my monitor. Everyone has already seen her, my monitor extraordinaire. So the 18-step color wheel is what we'll be doing in this workshop. This is the physical wheel that you'll have. This for me was almost like the Rosetta Stone for when I had just finished my Atelier training. I didn't particularly know color because they don't really teach color or color theory there. And then I had a random encounter with a former student, an older student, and I basically, almost like Karate Kid, went to his studio once a week for about 12 weeks and created this color wheel. And this is where all the theory of everything that I needed was. It just made sense, and it relates to drawing and also the way in which we're trying to break down the information that we see up in front of us. Here it is in digital format. So the way that the workshop is set up is it's an 8-week workshop. It used to be a 12, but I felt 12 was too long, so we narrowed it down to 8. Week 1, we start with the value scale. So we'll create the tool. I actually have it right here. Hold on one sec. Here's a value scale. I actually hold it up so everyone can see later. So we'll create this tool to begin with, and then we're going to use it as the basis to find a light to dark version of every color. So week 1, we'll create the value scale. If we have time, I may give you an exercise of painting a sphere, a gray sphere. Week 2, we'll do the setup of the color wheel. So we'll actually lay it out together so that everybody can see. I make a recorded video so you can go back and rewatch it as many times as you want to. Week 3, we'll do the red strings. We'll paint either a sphere or an object. So basically take the concept of light to dark of an object and then apply it to a form so that we're getting the idea and not just the theory. And so on and so forth. We'll go into orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. This is based off of the traditional color wheel, more of the way in which spectral light is. There are many other color wheels out there, like the Munsell wheel or the additive subtractive wheel, which we kind of get into in the discussion, but not particularly in the workshop. So we start June 25th. I actually pushed this off a week because my wife yelled at me because June 18th, we have a wedding to go to. So June 25th will begin. July 2nd, we're going to take off so everybody can, I gather most people will go away for July 4th weekend. And then after that, we'll meet weekly. So it's actually good. So you'll have a lot of time to do the value scale. I'll probably give the gray sphere because you'll have 2 weeks to get your assignment in. The purpose of this workshop or this color wheel is to have the notes on how to mix a light to dark version of every color, which I find super important. But it's a theoretical place to begin. I think I say this at the end of every week, especially in the Q&A, that this doesn't solve all of your problems, but it gives you a solid foundation to begin with, to begin to think of how to make a light to dark version of any object. Just keep in mind that almost no object will be one hue. Things shift in color space. due to objects in the environment or the light that it's under. So the appearance of things can change. And these are things, again, they come up every week in the discussion. So what is a color string? It's a light to dark version of a color. It's referred to a color string or a color scale, similar to the way that we think of music. We can see a grayscale at the bottom, and we see an orange string at the top. The format of the class is that we meet as a group on Saturdays. We begin June 25th. So from Saturdays to 12 to 1:30, we'll meet at, well, actually, it should say Eastern Standard Time, right? We're not daylight anymore. Gotta edit. In that time, we'll meet just like this. We usually start about 12:05. I give everyone about 5 minutes to kind of sign in. I'll demonstrate how to mix a paint string, and then I'll also paint an object or a sphere. So I actually have recorded it so that the quality is high, and I'm not doing like a shaky cam kind of thing. Say like, hey, watch me do this, and then there's bad light. So I actually kind of studio produced them here, even though it's still not the best quality, it's good quality. I'm actually going to show you the quality at the end. So I'll paint, I'll demonstrate in front of the group how to make the string and then apply it to the form. So we start with either a sphere or an object, which I'll get into in just a second. We'll end with about, I don't know why I wrote 10 to 15 minutes. Kalina's shaking her head too, because it's always 30, 45. We just had like an hour one in my class that just ended, and that's about the norm. So plenty of time to ask questions. I like to dork out, especially when it comes to color or just dork out about art in general. So I love to help solve problems. Each session will be recorded, so you can replay as many and watch it as many times as you like to, and you'll have access to the content for 4 weeks after the class ends. I will also hand out the notes for how to mix a light to dark version of each hue. So each week, as we mix that string, I create a PDF, and you'll see exactly, I'll actually show you in just a minute, of how to make everyone light to dark. Over time, I've actually refined this to make it super, super clear, and that's because I didn't realize how clear I was until I presented the information, and that's why the third time through now, I think we're actually at a good place. So here's a blue string. If you take phthalo blue and titanium white, you can get a gradation of values from light to dark. The H ends up being the large dot. I make this notation for every one of the colors. Every week you get 3 strings, how to mix them, and then we're taking one of those strings and we're applying it to a form. Sometimes we're taking 2 of the strings, and sometimes I'm showing alternate ways in which to take a string and articulate the thing that we see up in front of us. Throughout the week, students will mix the strings and apply them to their color wheel. They'll also complete those strings every week and an exercise, and then you'll upload them to Slack. Now, Slack is the online workspace in which we share everything. It ends up being an online community, which is a beautiful thing. Just like when we get together here with Zoom and we can all smile and see each other, this ends up being a place where we can kind of type messages to each other, more of like an online form, which I'll show in just a second. So if you post your work, you'll have from Saturday to Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, because we're not in standard anymore. You'll have almost a full week to do all of your assignments and exercises. If you're late, I say go to the next week, because then I'm trying to knock these things out. As you'll see, it just makes it so that the flow is a little bit easier. I'll leave a video feedback within 3 days if you sign up for the full one. This feedback is yours to keep and can be downloaded. It's actually recorded almost in 4K. So I do a screen record and then I talk over and basically try to give you tips on like how to think. And again, I'll share a quick little video at the end of another student's work so you can kind of see it. Students have access to each other's feedback and can download all the feedback as well. So last summer, we had 50 students, and we had, I think, 30 that were in the full program, the full with critiques. And there was just a lot of content that, if you want to spend a lot of time and watch everybody's feedback videos, it was there for you. My demonstration videos are not downloadable. My content is my content. It's there to watch. It's locked, but you can't download it. Please don't share the PDFs as well. They're copywritten. As I said, this material will be in the book, which will be out now in October. I hope they email me again to tell me it's going to be like September, but That's, I think, wishful thinking. So here's the color wheel. What we do is I show how to set it up with a PDF of how to do it. And then I actually demonstrate in a video of how to do it. We'll do red for 3 weeks, orange for 3 weeks, yellow for 3 weeks, green for 3 weeks. I'm sorry, for 1 week. We'll do 3 strings per week. So sorry about that. And then we'll do violet, 3 strings in that 1 week. Students can do a painting of either a sphere or a simple object like a fruit or vegetable. I think that's a good place to begin so we don't get, too complex with the objects. Exercises will be posted in Slack. Here's Slack. So I wanted to show you, this is the setup for the color wheel the color wheel workshop. This was actually January. And there's a materials list. So everything is in its own channel. And then you can kind of go in and interact so that we're trying to keep the content for week 1 in one thread. I will then give feedback by way of video critique catered to each individual's painting. Feedback videos will be roughly 5 to 10 minutes in length, depending on what we're going over. Sometimes the value scales can be a little bit faster, especially if you got it. There's no need for me to just sit and talk for 5 minutes. We'll begin by creating a value scale, which will be used throughout the 12-week course. That's what I held up. And really, there's a color assigned to, there's a value assigned to every color. So if we were to take this and turn it to black and white, you'd see that all these colors are actually the value that they're sitting on about. There's the video of me creating the value scale. So it's like a top-down shot for color mixing. We'll then lay out our color wheel step by step. Again, that's a PDF and a video that we put together. That's me. This is actually a still from the video. Each week I'll demonstrate how to mix a string. Will then be applied to painting an object or sphere. You'll have access to these 2 videos. So if you choose to do the sphere, you can watch the sphere video. If you choose to do the object, you can watch the object video, but you'll have access to both of them. So if you want to do both of them, you're more than welcome to, and then post both of them. And I'll give a, that's when it would be like a 10-minute critique for sure. So here's me mixing the color string of phthalo blue. That's the one that I showed earlier. And then I'm using the value scale at the bottom as a way to kind of check my values. If you all squint your eyes down, we try to get to the point where we can't see the color anymore and we see just the value. And that's when we can really articulate the value in relation to the color. So every color that we have has a value attached to it. So here's just a still from the demonstration of the blue sphere. And what it is I have the painting here. This is the end of the painting video. I have the reference and I always have the palette shot. So you can kind of watch me go through it. And then this would be a blue object. So the blue is a hard one because there's not really a blue vegetable. I mean, there are blueberries, but it would be the tiniest little video. So I ended up buying this balloon dog on eBay. And this is more of like something more fun. You don't have to go and buy one. Whatever you have that's blue, it could be a pot, it could be a glass, it would be fine. The materials, I actually have a brush set through Trekell Art Supplies. They also have the paints that I usually recommend, which is either Gamblin or Michael Harding. Those are the 2 that I like. And that's when, when we talk, you'll hear me start to dork out and why I use certain things. The materials needed will be, I don't think I updated this. Once you register, there's an updated one that's in Slack that will have everything that we need. But I think that we need more panels, right, Kalina? We need 1 for every week, which you would need 7 panels, not 2.
Yeah, that says 2.
Yeah, that says 2. But if you already have a surface that you want to work on, that's totally fine too. I work on birch panels. I'd recommend something nice and stiff, of course. Hey, and those are the brushes that I use as well.
Does Trekell have the set of panels to buy this time too?
They do. I just have to make sure. So what I'm going to do is once you register, then I will put a link in Slack and I set everything up. So all you have to do is just go over and kind of click in the materials. As you'll see, I'm going to have a sphere kit to buy too if you want to, which I sell directly from me. I have to paint every one of them. But Trekell usually has, I don't know if they have it in stock right now, but I just have to call Courtney. I'm doing a little out of order, of course. I should have called her first. The oil colors needed will be posted in Slack. Once you register, you'll have access to the list. I also go over how to read a paint label, which is important. So in addition to me giving the colors, I'm also going to give the CIN numbers. And this is what the CIN number is. So cadmium red light is PR108. It's called something different depending on the brand that you work with. If you work with something like Winsor Newton, you'll see that it's called cadmium scarlet. So basically, when you register and I send over the list, the CIN number is actually much more important than just the name, because the manufacturer can kind of change the name. And I think you all came through the my mailing list, which means that you probably got my last newsletter in which I talk about this anyway. If you have not, please email me and I'd be happy to send over my last newsletter. The CIN number is super important. I actually plan to do a lot more writing and sharing it with everybody, especially as we get closer to the book. The paints will roughly cost $270 to $320. That's if you have no paints, though. If you have no paints, I can't imagine anyone in here has no paints. We need titanium white, burn umber, raw umber, things like that, cadmiums, cobalt blue. Actually, no, not cobalt blue, ultramarine blue. So you'll probably have a lot of these colors already. The brushes and panel kits can be purchased through Trekell. Again, I'll have all this linked up. So when you register, I'm going to have this set up. The ones that are already registered will probably say, wait a minute, I don't see that in there now. I'm going to get it in there this week because we just finished the online still life class. The two brands that I have, you can actually do a one-stop shop because you can buy Gamblin and Michael Harding at Trekell, which is one of the reasons why I love them. There's sphere kits. They can be purchased through me. I'll probably add in the gray sphere and because we have that extra week now. So you'll be getting 7 spheres and I hand paint them. So I have to wrap them in silicone release paper so that they don't stick together. But I basically will go to Home Depot and I have them color matched to some Munsell chips that I have, and they will make them the color needed. If you don't want to buy them, you could always, if you don't want to buy them from me, you could actually just buy them on Amazon. You get 12 4-inch spheres and they're $10.99. And I think they do like one day, they could be to you quick. And then you could just get some acrylic paint. So if you have acrylic paint, this is where it's not so much you have to be perfectly matched. If you had Naphthol red and not Naphthol red light, the CIN for Naphthol red light is PR9. If you had PR112, you'd be fine. It's pretty close. But Vivid Red and Orange, these are the ones that I found from Liquitex that are pretty close. The tough one always has been Violet. Prism Violet is a dark, dark violet. But if you add titanium white to it, you can actually get it where we need it. And if anyone does it this way, I'll probably mail you a chip in the mail just to match too. If you're an advanced painter and you want to do something a little bit more complex and take the workshop, you're more than welcome to. That's when I'd say reach out to me and we can work a plan out. The live session costs $350 for this. If you're on Patreon, it's $300. The recorded version is $150. The recorded session with Patreon is $120. That's if you're on the $12 tier. My Boston accent just came out. $12 tier on Patreon. So there it is. Live session meets on Zoom. So if you're in the live session, we meet together as a group and we talk live just like we are right now. That's when you'll receive the weekly feedbacks. If you do the recorded, because we usually have a very large group, to keep the bandwidth very low and not clog it up and make the video slow down, that's when you don't have access to the live. You have to watch the recorded after, and you can't ask questions in the Q&A live. So recorded session does not get feedback, and it has access to the weekly videos in Slack, but you're not live with us every week. Now for the Q&A, Kalina. Oh, wait, my bad. I said I was going to show you some videos. I'm going to just quickly show these videos. I pulled them off to the side just so that everybody can see. And I'm just going to like speed rush through them so you can see. So here is, let me find the first one. There we go. So here's the first video. So I produced them all myself. Can you see is it a white screen? Okay. So this is the way that they're set up. Sometimes I put music in them. I don't know why, but sometimes I don't. I'm probably going to unify them. But what I do is I show, this is just a quick, I'm going to just speed through it.
They would typically have their students
Me dorking out.
or they would mix them.
You can hear it?
We're only seeing the white screen.
Oh, okay. I thought so, because for some reason it showed that it was, here we go. You see that? So this is me, this is me dorking out, showing a stone of lapis lazuli for blue, and then saying like ultramarine blue is different from phthalo. And then I basically just walk the audience through of how to mix a light to dark version of every color. Now I do this for every one of the colors.
What they do is they take Mars red and they cook it. And when they cook it,
so that's me telling about why something is transparent red oxide. And then this is me applying it to the form. So you can see that I'm taking the practice of mixing the string and applying it. So it's not just theory based. You have access to all these videos. I put the high res up of the video just like this. And then I put the weekly Zoom recorded up, which is lower res because Zoom compresses the crap out of everything. And then I just want to show you quickly one more video. I'm going to zoom through in the same way, and then we'll go right to the Q&A. Now, this is just a typical, can you see that, Kalina? Or is it, okay, it shows yellow again. So this is me just walking through, this is from my master still life copy. And this is just typically what I do. I'll bring up some of my work or some paintings where you can kind of see the marks in which I'm trying to make for this one.
Doing it. So these one shot things are awesome.
The video's not playing.
I thought so, because I
can see it, but it's just not playing.
Okay, there we go. So this is just an example of a video of me going all the way through. This is one of the students in the class now, of just how I would take her, you can see right here, the highlight, adding the highlight to her painting just to make it a little bit more rich. So this is what I usually do, where I'll actually draw over the top of your painting. I'll record it in Photoshop, and then I share it with you and your thread, and then the group can watch it if they want to. You get to download it and keep it, and that's your critiques for the workshop. People love them.